So I just watched Dune Part 2 last night and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. I'm just absolutely blown away with how perfect the film is, and that's no exaggeration. This might be one of the greatest cinematic achievements in history, and I can't really believe it either. We can really, we can stop making movies now, altogether. We're done here. This is akin to The Godfather Part 2 or The Empire Strikes Back, and if you've seen Dune 1, try to remember when Zendaya said,
"This is only the beginning."
Because, well, she was absolutely right. The film builds upon what was already established in 1 and completely dives into the deep end. This movie is everything film can be and left me speechless and in awe of what I couldn't believe happened. I can't praise this film enough because I think this is going to become one of those cultural landmark films, the kind of movie that collectively everyone can find some sort of value in, whether you're into film or into Dune or even just a casual moviegoer. Denis Villeneuve and the entire cast and crew are on top of their game in this. There's just levels of mastery in all departments, and how cohesively they work together to create the final product not only shows the strength of Villeneuve as a filmmaker, but the strength of the source material. Frank Herbert's Dune has long thought to have been unadaptable. From Jodorowsky's concept to the freaky David Lynch version, it seemed like an impossible task to make something so grand out of such a rich text. But Denis does it again, and although he already established himself as one of the greatest science fiction directors back when he made Blade Runner 2049, I think his work in Dune Part 2 elevates him past that and into the territory of a living legend. I want to highlight a few of the departments and their levels of contribution to the film. I want to first start with cinematography. Greg Fraser is a master of the camera. His compositions are so strong that they're able to tell the story by themselves. And the grand scale that he's often known for is put to the absolute max in this. Almost every shot can stand alone as a work of art in itself. With the story taking place on multiple planets, this gave Fraser the freedom to establish different lighting scenarios and new ways to shoot the film altogether. Early on in the movie, with the very first scene, we see Arrakis in a new light. A bold and orange landscape that completely stands out from anything that we saw in Dune 1. And I love the choice to bring us back into the world, but having us see it in a completely new way. When we're on the Harkonnen planet of Gedi Prime, Fraser decided to use infrared to show the power of the harsh black sunlight that engulfs the planet. Speaking of the different planets, there are two departments that go hand in hand in helping us understand the deep lore of Dune, and that's production and costume design. Just absolutely blew me away. There's multiple cultures in this, coming from different planets, and just the way that we see the differences in their ships, their tech, architecture, and clothes all point to the amazing work done by production designer Patrice Vermette and costume designer Jacqueline West, as well as everyone who worked on their teams. Next, I want to talk about the editing and score. Joe Walker, who won the Oscar for his work in the first film, works even harder at pacing out this epic. There's so much more going on in this, and in the 3 hours of it, you don't even realize how much his work is manipulating you. His choices to speed up or slow down the pace of a scene, to build tension or shock, all come together and flows perfectly to feel like there was no time wasted, and honestly, I could have gone for a 4-hour cut. The movie flows not only because of the editing, but the brilliant score done by the great Hans Zimmer. Zimmer again shows why he's a master of his craft, and every time the score kicks in, especially with the it just gave me chills. The music perfectly ebbs and flows with the editing and works to, again, manipulate you. If you want that feeling of dread, play feel like time's running out, play just the way the music helps guide you through the story is, again, just a piece of what makes Dune Part 2 a masterpiece. Finally, I want to talk about the performances. Timothée Chalamet had a lot on his plate for this. He carries the burden of convincing the audience that he's capable of holding his own in a movie of this scale and magnitude, and he does so perfectly. Timothy has always gotten comparisons to Leo as the next it person in Hollywood, and although he has always found success, I believe that this role as Paul Muad'Dib Atreides is what I think people will forever associate with Timothy as his stamp into film history. He carries so much burden as Paul, and his physicality is an underrated piece to his performance that I think will go overlooked. Besides Chalamet, the entire cast is perfect. Rebecca Ferguson as Lady Jessica adds a new layer to her character that I won't spoil here, but definitely elevates her from just being Paul's mom in the first one. Zendaya as Chani is the heart of the movie, and we as an audience feel her passion through the screen and understands her beliefs and ideologies. Javier Bardem, Dave Bautista, and Josh Brolin all return to give new depth to their characters, and especially Bardem, who put together an amazing supporting performance. But none of them can outshine the scene stealer of the movie, Austin Butler. I mean, he's doing everything in this to sell his character as Fade Routha to be the foil of Chalamet's Paul. Other additions to the cast include Léa Seydoux and Florence Pugh, both as Bene Gesserits, and the legendary Christopher Walken, who plays the Emperor. Just all around, this cast coming together is exactly what we needed from cinema. A mix of established greats and rising stars just completes the whole experience. I wish I could talk more about this movie without already repeating myself, like I didn't even go into the visual effects and practical effects, or even the sound design, but I just couldn't help but blurt out all of my feelings about this movie. I walked out speechless and just in shock of how amazing this experience was cinematically, and it made me fall in love with movies all over again. There's something historical about this movie, and I'm so glad that I'm here to experience it and appreciate it as it comes out. And if you haven't seen Dune 2, I highly recommend that you see this on the biggest screen that you can, with the loudest speakers that you can. And if you've already seen Dune Part 2, comment down below your favorite sequence or your least favorite moments of it. I just want to know your guys' thoughts and opinions. Again, thank you guys for watching. I'm about to go watch Dune Part 2 right now. So yeah, bye.